Today I decided I'm going to be cashing out my entire retirement.
Every new agent should go out there and buy that brand new BMW or Mercedes that they cannot afford.
The guy on here sold his car thinking the rapture's gonna happen on Tuesday.
So today we have another episode of a staple video series on this channel. We're going to be watching people make some bad financial decisions. I truly think that life is too short to just learn from your own mistakes, and the internet is an amazing tool to use. There's basically an unlimited amount of experiences and advice online for anybody to see, and I think that this could be really useful for many people. We have a lot to go over today, along with comments from you guys from previous videos, so if you want to be featured on a future video, leave in the comments down below. But let's start off with a more recent story in the news lately, the apparent rapture that was supposed to happen a few days ago, and all the bad decisions that went along with it.
The guy on here sold his car thinking the rapture's gonna happen on Tuesday. Did you know that there's a whole section of TikTok where people think the rapture's gonna happen on September 23rd? What are you gonna do if you don't?
Well, I don't think I really have to tell you, nothing ended up happening, but there are many videos online of people doing exactly that, freaking out, saying that they're so worried about their children. They were actively selling all of their possessions, even though, say if the rapture was going to happen and everybody was going to go up to heaven, right? The end times are actually here. Why would you need cash in the first place? It's not like you're bringing your USD up to the pearly gates. The thought process right off the bat just does not make sense. But some of the comment section, I need to start checking Facebook Marketplace for some deals. I'm a millennial and this is my third rapture. It was fun the first time, but God, do I miss the Mayan calendar. Him riding to work on Wednesday with an image of somebody on a bicycle. Why does the rapture only happen in the US? Is he taking the money with him in the sky? Exactly what I was thinking. So I don't think I really have to tell you, probably not the best financial choice to sell all of your material possessions for way cheaper than what they're worth, just because you thought the end times were here. Very odd way to start off this video, but let's just move on to the next clip.
Today I decided I'm going to be cashing out my entire retirement. I recently discovered, which I should have researched earlier, that my retirement is doing really well because 16% of my mutual funds are invested in BlackRock, and it doesn't sit well with me. And I don't believe in this system anymore anyway. If you don't know, I'm Sarah. I quit my corporate job back in January. I've been a nomad all summer. I'm DJing now on TikTok and started a creator network and trying to build an app that changes the way that we work entirely.
So because 16% of your portfolio was invested into a company that you didn't like, you were just going to pull the plug on the entire thing. Don't rearrange your investments at all. Maybe just put it in SPY or VOO, something safe. I'm just going to pull everything out, take all the penalties, start DJing on TikTok, and make an app that is going to change the world. Wow. We should just go right over to the comment section. 65-year-old you is going to hate the current you. Why don't you just change the investments instead of withdrawing? Don't cash out, sell the BlackRock mutual fund, reinvest in something else. You'll also face tax implications. That's what I was saying. I'm completely fine with you not investing in a company that you don't like, but there is no reason to pull everything out because of it. This is so funny because the company you're actually mad at is Blackstone and not BlackRock. The creator even responds, they're both bad, but you're correct. I got them mixed up. So she didn't even know what she was talking about originally. And you decide to make this life-changing choice, because I don't think I have to tell you how difficult it's going to be to retire in the future, especially if you're around the millennial or Gen Z age. She's 32. You're going to pay the government so much money. Imagine Caleb Hammer seeing this on his For You page. This is also not a one-off issue. I've seen other clips doing the exact same thing, saying that they're going to pull all of their money out because the system's rigged. I don't care if the penalty is 100%. I don't want to be investing at all, which I mean, in the end, it is your choice. But you making a rash decision like this because you're most likely in your 30s, not thinking long-term, 30, 40 years in the future, will really come back to bite you in the end. You could have just kept that money in your 401k, but invested it in CDs or bonds. You could have even invested in SPY or VOO and not risk exposure to private equity. This was an incredibly poor decision. People saying that over and over again, you could self-manage your 401k and avoid private equity, but instead they didn't do any research and made some pretty bad choices. I've asked you guys in the comments before, what was the worst financial decision that you've ever made? $1,000 on a briefcase? Funding a $2,000 PC on a credit card back in 2016. Just paid it off May 2025. Wow. Using my savings for a $70,000 Model Y? Do they even get that expensive? I thought they were around $40,000 or $50,000. Thinking I could afford another horse? We've seen some clips on how expensive that could be. Basically like owning a car. Financing a car for 84 months at $604 a month. All this comment says is trading card games, especially Pokemon, it's still wildly popular and very expensive. Not investing sooner, buying a house with 0% down. I started smoking, lending $9,000 to a guy I considered a friend and help him get out of poverty. He let me down and never paid me back 1 cent. The worst thing I ever did was student loans for $24,000, complete waste of money. And there were many, many comments like that as well, but let's move on to the next example.
The number one worst purchase, and I think most people are expecting me to say, oh, a brand new car, a luxury purse, or not getting takeout. This is arguably way worse, and I actually would rather buy luxury goods over this one item, and it's a pet, specifically a dog. The fact is that dogs require a lot of maintenance. They're gonna, not only do they suck up your time, but you gotta feed them. That costs money. If you go on vacation, you gotta find a dog sitter. That costs money. Toys, accessory, those are money pits. Insurance, vet bills, those are also money pits. The thing is, most companies know that you have an emotional attachment to this pet, so they could charge you whatever, and chances are you're gonna pay it.
And I know people get very defensive with this topic because so many people like pets, including myself, but we've seen several examples on this channel that just to start off with buying a dog, some people are paying $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 for some nice special purebred. And then you add in the food cost, which has gone up in price just like our grocery bills. Anytime you go to the vet, if something's wrong, it could be very, very expensive. And like he said, companies know you have an attachment to your animal like it's a child sometimes, so they'll be able to charge ridiculous amounts and you can't really say no. I'm not trying to say that nobody should ever have a pet, but you should probably be much more financially stable than you think before you decide to get a pet.
What is one bad financial decision that you regret making in life?
All right, true story. Nobody gonna believe me, but true story. I was on a game show. All right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What game show? What game show?
I Can See Your Voice on Fox.
Okay.
And I ended up winning. $100,000.
True story?
True story. This is a true story. I swear to you. Honest, you could go find me. I win $100,000. I ended up getting a check a year later.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna take all my boys. We're gonna go to Vegas.
Okay.
So I got all the money. We get a big penthouse at the Cosmopolitan. That was $1,800 a night. We stayed for 1 week. I promise you that whole week, I left with $0. Gone.
Are you serious?
Gone. Everything, word to everything. Word to my mom.
What did your family have to say about that?
What they gonna say? It's my money. I made it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, man, it's like you gonna make money and then
When it comes, money goes.
Yeah, you gonna make it and you'll make it back somehow, some way.
Yeah, somehow, some way, 6 figures is just going to land in your lap again. He got a gift that not many people get on this planet by winning a game show, and you decide to blow the entire thing in 1 week at Vegas. Many people would kill to have an extra $100,000 in this climate. He didn't talk about the tax issues that come along with it. We've seen other experiences where people have won $100,000 doing something, but taxes were not taken out. So at the end of the year, the tax bill was significantly more than they thought. $100,000 drops down to what, like $68,000 or $65,000? I guess it depends on what state you live in. So that could be another issue on top of it. Again, I don't know what happened in his situation, but some of the comments ask him if any of those friends are still around. Biggest fumble of his life. I bet he thinks about that money every single day. Not even out of the country, he spent it in Vegas. I don't know, putting that into some sort of safe investment, getting a free $5,000, $7,000, or maybe even $10,000 a year would alleviate at least some financial burden for the rest of your life. Another comment from you guys, they say a smart man learns from his own mistakes, but a wise man learns from others. Thanks for these videos, and that's exactly why I make them. Compiling a whole bunch of different stories, experiences, advice, I truly think can help a lot of people out, especially if you're younger and don't know too much about finances. I've talked about it before. I was never a finance major in college or into really any of this when I got out of high school and into the real world, but I learned everything that I know from the internet, from watching YouTube videos, looking things up. And hopefully now I'm doing the same thing with my channel, helping anybody who watches.
Let me go ahead and just say it out loud. I was not educated on financials at all. School did not educate me. My parents didn't educate me. I was thrown into the mix and I was not given any heads up. Recently, I did something stupid. I got a high interest loan. That's what I just learned what it was called after talking to the lady on the phone. So I took out a loan for $500 because I was going to miss out on paying rent for that month of, I think it was March, maybe April. I don't even remember. But I do know that I took out $500 of a loan. It was just a loan company I had seen online. They were quick to give me an answer. They were quick to give me the money. I should have known better. Anyway, they tell me that the $500 loan would have a little bit of interest. I'd have to pay in total $600. They sent me paperwork. I signed it. I moved forward with the process. I'm dwindling down to like maybe the last $200, $300. So I'm like, okay, let me go check to see how much I have left. Tell me why the total is $2,000, almost $3,000. And I call them and I'm like, hey, like, I'm not understanding how this loan works. Can you give me more clarity? And the lady's rude on the phone. And she's just like, we sent you paperwork. You should have understood how this worked before you signed on. And I'm like, okay.
This is a picture-perfect example of the companies that I show you when we're talking about any sort of debt. Credit card debt, the payday loans, the buy here, pay here lots as well. If you search any of this kind of stuff up, because everybody is taking our information, you're going to start getting targeted ads from these companies right here. She got a payday loan, plain and simple. And that $5,000 turns into $3,000 because the paperwork is pages and pages long. And they hide how much the APR is actually going to be at the end of the day. And you just sign on the dotted line and now have to deal with the consequences. And this is how we learn. Been there and still learning. I'm not gonna lie, that's a rough lesson though. $500 to $3,000 is crazy. It should also be illegal. It should, but we've seen payday loans at 5, 6, 700%. I believe there was one from Caleb's show that was sitting at around 900%. And this kind of stuff to me is only getting worse because, as I said, you search any of this kind of stuff online, you'll get tons of targeted ads, emails, things in the mail, all trying to trick you into getting these crazy high payments. Another comment from you guys, I financed a car through a dealership and it was the worst mistake I've ever made in my life. 20% APR for 3 years. But I thought it was no big deal because they said I could refinance for a lower interest rate later. Tried to refinance after a year with on-time payments, but I wasn't able to because my credit score was low. So I ended up paying the loan with a super high interest just to find out that my credit score is 500. It was worse than when I got into the car. Also, they never gave me a title or the second key. Had to replace the ECU after electrical problems and needed to get a second key to program it and had to pay another $500. Now they won't answer my calls, give me my title or a key, and the car has been paid off since December. I feel like this has to be a story from a buy here, pay here lot. Just basically the car version of the last clip with the payday loans. The amount of shady stuff that I've seen from those dealerships. I know how expensive vehicles are right now, and that's how they try to entice you into those lots with deals that seem too good to be true, and they are. If you can, I would completely avoid them altogether.
So I took a $127.5 thousand home equity loan out on my house. You may be wondering, why would I take money out of my house? Oh my God, it's a appreciating asset. So I want to show you guys a visual on my idea, right? So right now we're paying over almost $670 a month for this, $930 a month for that, $220 a month for the camper, $1,380 a month for the house, plus $300 and something a month for the roof, right? So the $127,000 loan is paying off the roof, it's paying off the Durango, it's paying off the truck. It paid off a $19,000 personal loan that I had out for quite a few reasons.
So this guy pulled money out of his house to pay off his depreciating assets that were more expensive than the mortgage itself, by the way, on top of a almost $20,000 personal loan. He ends up explaining this a bit more and the situation just ends up getting worse, but we can look at some of the comments. Sounds like you can't afford your new vehicles and camper, living way above your means. $1,300 mortgage with a $900 truck is crazy. You took out 85% of your equity. When you go to sell the house, you're going to have no equity left for the down payment on all the other crap that you're looking to purchase. You need to stop keeping up with the Joneses. This is quite honestly one of the most expensive things you could have done to yourself. There'll be very little equity left, and he replies to this comment, "Why would I want land in a new house and no toys or vehicles? Makes no sense." Some people you just can't help, and you have to let them make their own mistakes. Because his only care in the world is his Dodge Durango and pickup truck along with his camper. It'll be an interesting situation when those modern vehicles start breaking down, but I mean, what else am I supposed to say? We have a screenshot here. I'm bored. Tell me the biggest financial mistake you've made. Not like I've spent $400 on a concert ticket, something that financially wrecked you. Buying a house in Florida, remodeling it, and a year later, Hurricane Ian hit us directly. Spending $25,000 a year on college just to get away from my family. Probably spending $100,000 on our wedding and another $25,000 on our honeymoon before buying a house. I spent $3,000 on Shein within 5 months and got rid of the clothes. I think about how that $3,000 could have helped me elsewhere. I had to also delete all online shopping apps. $3,000 on a place like Shein must have been a ton of clothing. All low quality polyester crap that they already ended up throwing out. Took a girl to Jamaica, paid for everything. A week later, we stopped dating. Still financially recovering. Why would you do that? I had 3 jobs in my early 20s for fun and because I wanted to buy and do whatever I wanted. Didn't save a single dime. All right then.
What's been your worst money mistake?
We took a home equity line out and we bought a car.
What was your worst money mistake?
Buying that stand and then the estate went bankrupt.
Maybe trying to invest too quickly.
Don't get into it too quick when you don't know what you're investing into.
Exactly.
What has been your worst money mistake?
When I was traveling by myself, I used every limit of credit card I had to do it. That stays with you. It takes a long time and it multiplies.
I pulled a bunch of my 401k money, paid the penalty to buy my boat. It's very expensive to buy a boat in the Virgin Islands. And that was awesome. And I met her. And now looking back, like, you know, being older with a mortgage, better do that stuff when you're younger, probably.
But some of that could be so detrimental that it stays with you even at your older age. Some of the comments are not much better. Taking out a second mortgage and installing a pool 28 years ago. Buying a boat, absolute money pit. Another person says solar. Another comment from you guys. I have a friend who spent over $6,000 at Disney on our trip, most of which was stuffed animals. She justified it by saying most of what she bought were gifts for friends and family. Then she made fun of me for being cheap and not buying stuff I don't need. I hope the $6,000 also includes the ticket and everything else that goes along with going to Disney, because I bet all the merchandise and souvenirs are unbelievably expensive, but $6,000 seems unreal to me. Now we could head over to a staple on this channel, everybody who just doesn't want to pay their taxes.
So, Nail Tech, $40,800 a year. That means we're setting about $1,200 aside for taxes, correct?
Not correct. I'm supposed to be putting taxes back, but I do not do that.
Financial audit bingo, here we go. What about last year's taxes?
No,
How are
not
we looking?
done.
And how much did you pay in taxes?
I don't know.
Did you file taxes?
No.
How much are you making?
And 600 a week.
Is that before taxes or after taxes?
I don't do taxes.
What does that mean?
That is like a freelance gig.
That's not how money works.
Yeah.
How do you owe so many taxes?
So when I do my tax form, I usually put single and 9 dependents.
9 dependents?
Yeah, single and 5 dependents.
Are you single and do you have 5 dependents?
No.
How many dependents do you have?
None.
Committing tax fraud and then self-snitching on a channel that gets hundreds of thousands of views, millions really. Can't say that that's the best choice you've ever made in your life. The first rule of tax evasion, don't talk about your tax evasion. The IRS watching this, people admitting it so freely online as if you can't be tracked, because when it comes to the government and money, they are going to find you. And every time I look that specific situation up again, there are just more and more examples and videos of people admitting the exact same thing.
I owned this car for literally 1 day. Okay, you guys, the past 2 days of my life have been so insanely stressful, and let me tell you why. So I bought my car. Woohoo! Yay, I didn't even get to really like enjoy it because the financing and like all of the contracting part, they fucked me so hard. They messed me up so hard. I didn't realize how bad the refinancing contract was, blase. I didn't realize any of these things until, of course, I call my father and I tell him like, I'm all excited. I'm like, oh, they did this and this. And my dad's like, what? Basically, they signed me up for gap insurance, didn't need it. And honestly, guys, I can go back and forth about how shitty the contract was, but luckily there's a 2-day canceling like contract fee. So instead of buying this car that I was so excited to do, I am no longer buying this car, and I'm here at Mercedes-Benz right now and I'm dropping it off. I owned this car for literally 1 day. I'm just gonna trade it in, forget the contract, whatever.
Okay, so this is somebody who walked into a dealership with no knowledge about what was going to happen because they absolutely had to get a brand new Mercedes-Benz. She was complaining more about the gap insurance on the vehicle, but I would venture to guess that the APR and everything else that went around it was probably a way worse deal, but she just let the salesman take care of that. I wanted to get my new GLA 250, and now she's going to give it back. She doesn't want to deal with it at all for a fee. The things that people do and the choices they'll make, just so they get to drive around in a vehicle with a badge on the front and the back that shows other people that I have a nice luxury car. Another comment here, my worst financial decision was signing a rental lease at a condo with a friend. I was the owner and she was a co-owner. I moved out less than 1 year later, had her sign the release paperwork, and she took over the lease. A year later, I get Credit Karma and see that I owe $4,000 and call the complex and they never got the paperwork, even though I dropped it off, but they never took a picture of it. So I was on the hook. We've seen a lot of examples of this recently. People giving money to friends, family members, loans, not getting anything back, just getting completely screwed over. That just sounds absolutely wild to me.
Reminder, if you've been spending a lot of money on yourself and you're feeling bad about it, just remember at least you don't have a baby to pay for, but one day you probably will, so you need to enjoy this time right now where you have all this money to spend on you.
Now we get into the high spending portion of this video, where there are tons of people saying that you should just buy everything that you want, spend all your money. This one justifying it because you currently don't have a child, so you should be buying everything under the sun because when you do have a kid, you won't have the opportunity. To me, it just sounds like you'll never be financially stable enough to have a kid in the first place, but we could go on to more examples.
Not sure who needs to hear this, but spend your money. Unless you have something specific to save your money for and all of your bills and necessities are paid for, treat yourself. You make money to spend it, and if you don't have something specific you're saving for, spend it. Like today, I spent my mom's money. Will I probably be spending my own later? Yeah, because I work to make money to spend it. And you should too.
Spend the money. Buy the cute outfit you want. Go on that trip you've always wanted to. Book the vacation you've always wanted to. Your friend invites you to a concert? Go.
Alright, so the reasoning is always the same. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. So I'm going to have fun in the moment and drain my bank account to zero 24/7. Legitimately the YOLO mentality. But not surprising, a majority of people live a lot longer than they initially think, I guess. Girl, no, this is terrible advice. Today I spent my mom's money. This is so real. This is exactly what got me into debt. You can make more money, but you can't make more memories. Why does every memory then have to cost a ton of cash? And just say you could make more money to the majority of people that are hurting right now in this cost of living crisis. Not nearly as easy as you think. 100%, you can't take that money to the grave with you. I know that this is just my personal opinion, but I'd like to have money set aside for any of my future family members when I do drop dead. I feel like this has become less and less common of a thought process now, but I don't know, that's just the way that I'm wired. Okay, but what if I do live past 65? Do I really want to be working until I die because I wanted to spend every penny that I made? There's going to be significantly more stories and experiences in 20 or 30 years from all of these types of people with this mentality, all because apparently living in the moment means spending all of your money instantly.
Every new agent should go out there and buy that brand new BMW or Mercedes that they cannot afford. When I interview people, I'm like, do you live with somebody? Okay, who is it? Oh, it's my husband. Do you need to work? No, but I just love to help people. I'm like, oh God. Do you have a car? What kind of car? Oh, I have a Hyundai or whatever. I'm like, oh, why don't you go buy a BMW and then come back? When you buy that new BMW and you got an $800,000 payment every month, you're going to be grinding just that much harder to make sure that you can make that payment. And that's a kind of agent that's going to make it.
We've seen this several times before. Primarily, guys will try to justify buying a very expensive car, saying that they're forcing themselves to work harder so I could have this Ferrari, which in a majority of the cases just puts you in a very bad financial spot. But this is justified to be able to turn into a successful real estate agent, faking it till you make it. But in today's real estate market, I don't have to tell you that it's not looking good out there right now. Reports from late 2024 and early 2025 indicate that the percentage of real estate agents who don't sell any homes in a year varies by report, with some stating around 47 to 49%, while another report cites 71% of active agents not closing any sales in 2024. But yeah, go buy that brand new BMW X5, have $1,000 a month car payment, and get repoed. That seems like a great choice to me. I hope this is satire because this talk is moronic. LOL, this is the worst advice that anybody could give. It's just amazing to see what some people say online.
Arguably one of the worst financial decisions I have made in my 20s is getting an Amex card. If you don't know what that is, it's a charge card, meaning you have to pay the full balance at the end of every month, right? And so the money, like, because I use my Amex for everything because I'm going to get my points, you know what I'm saying? But you don't see the actual money coming out of your actual, like, Wells Fargo, Chase, whatever bank account. And so I'd be spending. And I'm like, I'm so good with money, right? And then the statement comes out and it says due $2,500. Or what? Who was spending all that? And then I look at what I spend. It's like Whole Foods, Sephora, blah blah blah. And I'm like those things in my mind don't come up to that because I don't see it. But at the end of every month, $2,000, $3,000 are like do not get an Amex charge card. I'm serious.
I think this video is summed up just by this comment. Bro just figured out how credit cards work. So when we see examples of people thinking that credit cards are just free money, it comes out of thin air, those people are actually being serious. Some people don't know how credit cards work, but you absolutely need to get those points or cash back. And I know this is why people like Dave Ramsey hate credit cards in general, because some people do not have the discipline or the knowledge. They somehow think the rewards are going to outweigh the money that they're actively spending, and it completely ruins their life. I don't have a problem with credit cards at all. I use it for everything, but I have the discipline to pay it off in full, along with getting all the rewards that comes with it. But these types of examples just baffle me.
What is one bad financial decision that you regret making?
Bankruptcy.
Bankruptcy?
Yeah. In 2014, my credit score was probably, I think it was like 4 something.
In the 4s after the bankruptcy?
After the bankruptcy. And then, they started sending me credit cards right away. I did a bankruptcy, and all of a sudden I'm getting all these credit cards, and then I go, well, I'll get a couple.
Like secure credit cards?
No, they were unsecured.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it was like a $500. So.
Yeah.
But I knew if I did it right, I could start building my credit. So now I'm back up to 750.
Yeah.
10 years later.
It took you 10 years to get back up to a 750, or
well,
sooner
it was
than
2014, so yeah.
So there you go. You have somebody hitting the reset button, and it took a decade. Along with the predatory companies immediately sending over credit cards, trying to get you right back into debt. Why am I not surprised? But most of the time we hear it takes 7 years to completely reset after a bankruptcy, and people try to justify that it's not really that long. You could get right back on your feet, but this guy took even longer, a decade. Another comment here. Same here. Took me 10 years to get back on my feet with my credit. My aunt convinced my grandfather to file for bankruptcy. It was one of his life regrets. Another screenshot here. Make me feel better about my poor life choices. What's the last thing you spent money on that you 100% should not have done? Use the last of my money for gardening supplies, because if I'm gonna be broke, I'm damn sure I'm not going to be sober too. Nice. Health insurance, not like it covers anything anyway. Botox, I'm miserable, but I don't want my face to scream it out loud. I don't know, I just think it's really creepy when you see people either speak or try to show emotion and their face barely moves. That's just my opinion though. Rented an island house for a year. We had the time of our lives and it ended July 1st. Maxed out 5 credit cards and will likely never recover. But I live only once. I just spent another $282 on his annual checkup. An image of a dog goes back to the example earlier. Clothes that I never wear because I don't go out. I did DoorDash last night, then turned around and used the money for DoorDash. So I have even more examples for this episode, but I realize that I've been recording for a long time. I don't want these to be super long. So that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.